Hello everyone, MC Tamer here with another quick tips and tricks video, this time exploring the joys of Vertex colors. This is a nifty little thing that I just discovered myself, and I thought that it might help some of you guys out with your own creations. Now let's say you have a mesh that you've made which is all sorts of different colors that don't match and look quite ugly. As you can see here, we have my original general purpose machine gun mesh, which is perhaps the most egregious example that I've ever made. Now, if you're like 2 weeks ago me, you're probably thinking, okay, well, there are two different ways we can handle this. One, we can edit the texture using Photoshop or GIMP or whatever your image manipulation software of choice happens to be. Or we could remap the faces of the part that we want to change onto the texture that we want to match. But, as I've recently discovered, there's a third option, and that is changing the vertex colors. Now, to do this, the first thing we need to do is select the part that we want to change, and then expand this this node here, and then find the tri-strips data. And down here, you'll see has vertex colors yes. If it says no, like this, then what you do is you just double click on it until it says yes, and then click on the if it says no, it's gonna have the little refresh icon there. You click on that, and then it'll show this color wheel. And before we actually change any of the vertex colors, we should save and then reload, or else the changes that we make won't show up. This tripped me up when I first discovered it, wondering why it wasn't doing anything. But anyway, now we can go back to the vertex colors, and it should look like this. It should say has vertex colors yes, and then under the vertex colors heading, it should have this little color wheel. If you expand this list, it is theoretically possible to change each individual vertex's color independently. So if you have the time and you feel like it, you could make it so that each vertex is the exact right color that you want, but that's a little bit too tedious for me. What I found is the quickest is actually just double clicking on this wheel and then choosing and then changing its color. So like here, for instance, we're at red. We can tint it red like this. But of course, that's not the color I'm looking for. Now, my trick is to first look for what piece of the mesh is the darkest and also has the most distinctive color. Because we can only tint the vertices darker. If you try to tint it pure white, it'll only go as light as the base texture was originally. So that means we can only go darker, and we can only change it to a color that's not white. Like if I wanted to make this receiver white, for instance, I can't. At least not with this technique. So in this case, I would choose the receiver because, as we can see, it's not the darkest one, but it is like kind of a bluish green, which is the most distinctive color. So I'm going to try and match everything to this. So selecting my pistol grip again, I am going to drag this this color selector around to kind of a bluish green area, and then move this dot somewhere. Let's see, I want it to be a little bit darker. So here is pure white, over here is pure black, and over here is pure color. So you want to try and find the sweet spot in between these three extremes. So I'm going to try this and see how that works. Okay, not bad. It could be a little bit darker, so that means we're going to drag it a little bit more towards the black. Almost. And if you think it's a little bit too blue, maybe we could drag it a little bit more towards the green. I think the color is too intense. Okay, I think we're getting there. Maybe just a little bit lighter. Okay, well, for now, I think this is pretty good. We can always fine-tune it later. So yeah, I think that looks pretty good. And then now, for the barrel assembly here, we do the same thing. Vertex colors, double-click this, and then click the refresh. Save. And then reload. And then now, this one is... Okay, this one's a bit darker. We may have to actually darken the receiver itself to try and match this. But for now, let's see if we can get the tinting somewhat right. We don't need to go as dark this time because the base texture is already pretty dark. So let's try this. Maybe a little bit more color. I think that's too much. Okay, that's not bad. So now I'm going to darken the receiver a bit and see if we can make the whole thing look a little bit more uniform. Now, I'm not trying to change the color here, so I'm just going to drag it right along this bottom edge. That can go a little darker. Let's see how that looks. Okay, that's not bad. You get the idea anyway. So yeah, this is a very handy trick that I just recently discovered and wanted to share with you guys. Thank you very much for watching. I hope this was helpful to you. If you have any questions, you can always find me on Twitter @TammersMods. Thanks for watching, and happy modding!